Hi, this is Tim Clark with End Times Matrix News, welcoming you back to this lovely 2016. Chris and I took off most of December for the Christmas holidays. Hi, Chris, how you doing?
Hello, I'm good.
So
Glad to be back.
where you been all this time?
Well, I've been visiting my family and traveling a little bit, but also helping you with the booklet that we'll be putting out pretty soon.
Well, that sounds good. So we got this booklet coming out called Cernunnos' Box and the Gate of Lucifer. And we put out the Zen Garcia interview in early December for that. And so the book should be coming out, I think, probably about another week, just so we get the final touches on it. And we're going to put that over. Let's see, Anthony Patch said we could put it on his page with his CERN-related books that he has out. So that's a nice area to put it for everything related to CERN. And then we'll also have it up on our website.
Right, we'll have it on our website at endtimesmatrixnews.com. And we haven't set a price yet for the book, and it won't be too terribly expensive, but we haven't asked for anything all these few years that we've done shows or anything like that. But this is all the blood, sweat, and tears that Tim and I have done on research, and the book is basically decoding a lot. It has a lot of scripture in it, Jesus at the gates of hell and CERN today, and it ties in a lot of fascinating things that we've never uncovered. So it's going to be a great first book, and then we're already working on our second booklet too. So we'll be putting that one out as soon as we can too. So it'll be on Anthony Patch's website, and it'll be linked to ours. But so just keep out a look for that, and keep out a look for Anthony Patch's updates on CERN on his web page, which is fascinating. And don't miss his interview with Gons on January 6th.
Yep, January 6th, he's going to be on with Gon's Face Like the Sun. So that'll be awesome interview. Looking forward to that. So, as the Obama turns, that seems to be the soap opera drama that we have for the New Year's. This being the first show that we've done for the New Year's. We come back, and as we're talking right now, Obama just went off the air. And what was he discussing today?
Gun control. He's going. Well, Fox News put out an article saying that he is going to do an executive order and go around Congress, and he's going to change other gun control laws that he hasn't said yet. What they are. It's probably like the Obamacare bill. You have to sign it to know what's in it, but this one's an executive order, so we're not really sure what's in it or what kind of door this is going to open up for martial law in the near future or anything like that, but we're just watching things unfold, and this is just part of the end times.
It is part of the end times, and so this is a direct assault on the Second Amendment. The American people don't want it. He doesn't care because that's his job, is to agitate and bring down this country more than what he's already done. So I find it fascinating that as we got to the new year, that you have all these coordinated worldwide events between our gun control stuff that he was hinting at, the Sunnis and Shias going to war in Saudi Arabia and Iran. And it just looks like a chaos operation that is being put forward. We had this Oregon event pop up out of nowhere. And for those interested in numbers, I put out Zach Hubbard's his 2 videos. He's a number cruncher on Gematria. And he was just connecting the Alamo Bowl with the Oregon incident, and how the Oregon incident with Oregon playing in the Alamo Bowl started right after the Alamo Bowl. So he was just crunching the numbers, saying how these things are so choreographed. Now, that's way over a lot of people's heads. They'll never go that far to think it's that manipulated. But those 2 videos are on the Facebook page for anybody that's interested in that. What else I found interesting with this gun grab stuff that Obama's doing is that they brought out my favorite guy. Everybody knows my favorite guy is Mark Gifford, right? Mark Kelly, that's his name. But for MK Ultra, Mark Kelly. And he's my favorite NASA astronaut, not because he's part of the Gemini twins. And for those who don't know, he has a twin brother that's at NASA also. So we have one that went up into space for the year and one that stayed on the ground. So we had the heaven and earth Gemini twins here. And of course, Chris has all kinds of depth of knowledge on the Gemini twins. But they have this, we're going to put this in our video. It's a him and Gabby Giffords with the Help Stop Gun Violence. Text solutions to 90975. Enough. We need your help to stop gun violence. And of course, I watched Fox before Obama today, and they had on this guy, Mark Kelly, pushing his, Obama's executive order. He's saying there's nothing harsh about this, it's common sense and all that. But if you look at their little ad here, if you decrypt it, you have your 90975. If you just look at that, what you'll see is that the 9, you just leave that alone. You jump over the 0 to the 975, you get a 21, which is a 3. So you get 3 9s or 3 6s. So why don't you make some comments about this, Chris? What do you think's going on here?
Well, 369 is a code, and it's in everything. It's also Nazi symbolism. And it's also in the Baphomet, UN, which is tied to the UN. The UN letters add up to 369, and that's going to be on our second book with the Unicorn Antichrist and decoding the UN and the Baphomet and the Antichrist system. But yeah, 369 is Saturn, the sun, and the moon. And another thing that Tim and I have uncovered and decoded is the Amon Ra and the Amon Re, which is Jupiter, because it's all about Jupiter worship, but it has to do with the sun and the moon. Who worships the sun and who worships the moon, and merging them together for peace. And that's what it's all about. Just like Cern is built over the Apollo's temple, which is the sun god. Mm-hmm. And then the moon temple is in Jerusalem. So this is also has to do with merging the Muslims, because in Iran, they worship Shamash, which is equivalent to Azazel, that's in my opinion, from my own research, that he is a god of the sun. And then in Jerusalem, they have the moon temple, and they pray towards a certain way, so that way they're not praying towards the sun, and they blow their horn towards a certain first moon every year. So it all has to do with the moon and the sun, mm-hmm. the changing of the calendars, and the times and the ages of what bloodlines they think that they belong to. And this is actually going to be in our first book. It's going to be fascinating. Mm-hmm.
It's amazing stuff. This sun-moon worship just saturates everything with the people who run this globe.
Right, and I think they want to unify things as one world order, merging the sun and the moon worshipers that have nothing to do with Jesus Christ. And Jesus actually said, "Don't worship the sun and the moon and the stars." And we'll talk about the star system in the book too a little bit. That's tied to the gate, which is Shiva. Shiva is the gate keeper, which proto-Shiva is Cernunnos, and that's what it's all about, is the same gods they worship then and now over time, and the gate that they want to open, this portal to the abyss. And that's why they want all this chaos, right, Tim? They want to bring in their Mahdi. So
yeah, that's what I think Obama's job here, of course, is always to basically take down America. And whether you believe he's the Antichrist or not, he's working to bring in the Mahdi. And whether he is or not, he's definitely an Antichrist spirit. And, he's following in the footstep of other Antichrists. We'll look at the ones that are connected with gun control. We'll look at Stalin. He took guns away from his citizens in 1929, then murdered 20 million of them once defenseless. So we see that Obama has no morals and no character, and he's a serial liar. So why would you want to participate with anything he's doing? Well, the Republicans don't seem to have a problem. They always they find a way to lose to Obama. Any chance they get, they find a way to lose. So the Republicans are in support of us losing our freedoms also. Pol Pot took guns away from his citizens in 1956, then murdered 2 million of them once defenseless. And then, of course, Obama identifies with Hitler because he was on the stage of Pergamum in the 2007 Democratic Denver celebration of Obama with the white horse at the top, symbolizing supposedly Obama in the white horse rider. And Hitler took guns away in 1938 and then murdered 13 million of his people. Then we move on to Mao Zedong, who took away guns in 1935, then murdered 20 million of them once defenseless. So the point that we're seeing here is that if you want to take away guns, it leaves the citizenry defenseless, and then the government can come in and slaughter the useless eaters. So we see how gun control operates in history. So obviously you don't want to replicate it. So anybody who's trying to replicate it is trying to start a tyranny. And Obama is using executive orders like any dictator or any king would. And the only, peaceable, civilized solution to Obama is impeachment and removal of Obama, and a following of the laws of the land. That's why we have the laws and Congress and all that to operate in a peaceful, civilized way. But evidently, Washington doesn't want civilized behavior. They want the order out of chaos. So we're getting into a situation now where it looks like this Oregon situation can be manipulated into something that could blow up as far as a false flag. What do you think on that, Chris?
Yeah, it definitely looks that way. I mean, things have progressed, and we've had a lot of hoax shootings, and then you have people that are awake that see that and they understand it, and then you have the people that aren't. But I'm not really sure about the Oregon thing, if it's, really what to think about it. If people are they really fighting for their rights? Is it just another hoax? Is it something they pushed them to do? I'm not really sure what the bottom line is on that. But, the Obama administration is something that we've never seen before. It is completely different than anything that we've ever seen in the government, as far as how they operate and how they're connected with Iran and certain individuals. But the Obama administration, they have that organizing healthcare, and you have the caduceus with the symbolism, just like Hitler with the eagle and the circle, and then it has the 3 stars above it that represent the belt of Orion. So symbolism is in everything. Once you start to realize all the symbolism around the world and with these world leaders, and you look at how they handshake each other and how they're connected with all these symbolism. I mean, these world leaders are working together for their Antichrist leader to come.
Yeah, and another disturbing thing about Obama was that, and we put these pieces together, we have photos of the Baphomet, and we have the photos of Hitler holding children's hands. And I believe just the other day I saw an Obama photo with him just circled with kids. And it just drew me back to the Childhood's End photo with the Corellan character. and him holding the children's hands. And we're going to put that together in this video so you can see that. But this whole thing with dictators and children's, that if children trust the dictators, they must be okay. And that is how we see the Antichrist spirit represented. Children trusting the Antichrist. And, you know, in the animations, in the movies that Chris and I look at, the children are often targeted with the propaganda of the New World Order through powers, that they'll have powers, or as I like to see, you know, this phrase, you know, I'm going to save the world, is very common in most of the kids' shows. To save the world is one of those common phrases that the kids are spoon-fed. So there's something very strange going on here, and it's fine you have to be careful when you look at these situations like the Oregon thing. That there are going to be some legitimate people in that, and then there's going to be what they call agent provocateurs. And we know from the history of the Spetsnaz, history of the Russians, that they've raised their kids to speak fluent English in accents and stuff since they were young. And then they can pass themselves off as Americans. And so you could easily have within a legitimate movement a group of people who are dressed up to look like country people who are Russian infiltrators who can speak perfect English. And this happened with the Nazis. Again, we always go back to the Nazis because they're all throughout our government in our Western world. They really are the multinational corporations, the money behind things. And I think Steve Quayle has, and the Hagmans have been bringing out that information more. And I've been harping on that for a long time. But I'm glad to see that people are getting it. That this Nazi thing is the Fourth Reich, is the Antichrist kingdom. But they're combining forces. Everybody who hates God is combining forces. It's the enemy of my enemy is my friend philosophy. So you'll see Obama, it looks like a Muslim, Obama looks like a Nazi, and Obama looks like a communist. He's kind of a unifying force among these anti-Christ movements. And so these images are unbelievable. Watching Hitler hold hands, watching Karelin hold children's hands, watching the Baphomet hold children's hands. And you just go, wow, these are the predators. These are the people who prey on the innocent, you know. And it's an amazing thing to be watching right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of predictive programming going on. I mean, just to see the movies that are, you know, coming out with the villain merging with you know, the good guys and the bad guys merging together and having civil wars, and just all the predictive programming coming out that is coinciding with what's going on in the world as well. And we're watching everything unfold as leaders coming together, signing climate change, Trans-Pacific Partnership, becoming one, and then the Pope wanting to merge, you know, Chrislam, wanting to make peace with the Muslims, and creating this one world order, one world. You know, no one can buy or sell without the mark of the beast. So it's going to be something that's going to be ushering in soon, because we see this gun control happening, and we don't know when some catastrophic event's going to happen, but it will.
Yep.
They've been planning it for a very long time. I mean, that's why you see the New York blowing up on the $100 bill. You see the nuke going down, and on the front of the bill, it's decoded lead to gold.
Perfectibility of man here. Yeah. This is it's very amazing what's going on right now. We know that the other major portion that we wanted to address today is the coming of this Antichrist, or this merging of this Mahdi Jesus combination. And why don't you go ahead and address that with the
Yeah, let me say a verse
Okay,
real
go
quick,
ahead.
and then we'll go into that.
Okay.
But Second Thessalonians 3:3 through 4, it says, "Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposeth and exalts himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he is as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God." And we know that there's many false Christ, and there's many antichrist figures. There's the spirit of the Antichrist already in the world and indwelling in his the people that follow him in multiple different types of ways. And so we have this guy, Erdogan, that's in Turkey. He is actually a very good friend of Obama. And he had, I mean, like a lot of historians and the sons of Jupiter and the emperors of Rome, they've declared themselves the Messiah. So has Erdogan. He claimed himself to be God a while back. He's building a temple for the Jews, and who knows what exactly his motives are, but we know that he's a Sufi, right, Tim?
Yeah, the that's what's coming out that's interesting. I mean, most of the material that we get on Erdogan is coming through the showbots, but that him being a Sufi is very interesting. They have this, what was it called? Fana? Fana?
Yeah, it's like a fana, and it's they believe that the Antichrist spirit is going to indwell in a man, and he is going to become God on earth. But that's not the first time that they, that history believes that, because that's the way it was in Egypt, and that's the way it was in Greece and Rome, that they believed that certain people were manifested. And even in mythology, they would say, okay, well, Set and Horus, they would indwell in certain people. They would become as gods. Or Apollo, he would indwell. He would take on like Agenor. He was the twin of Belus. And so, yeah, they already have said this thing and repeated this in history many, many times. And then in India, they say this is going to be the 12th time that, and the last time that someone is going to be manifested as God. And so this is something that they've done before with the churning of the sea and things that we've talked about on our shows before. They see it different in different types of religions. But it's just interesting that they say that they believe that. And if this man, do you think that he's going to get different sides of the Muslims to believe that he is God so he can bring peace?
Well, that is what I think is interesting. Him not being Sunni or Shia, but Sufi, and Sufi being the mystical version, and this Fana thing of the Mahdi indwelling a man. Totally what it does to me is when we look at the pictures that we're going to put in this presentation of the Pope kissing Erdogan, or Obama and Erdogan together, or Putin and Erdogan together, even though they're technically fighting right now with the Turkey-Russian thing. There's something about Erdogan being used to fulfill what we've been watching the Catholic Church doing for a lot of years now. We used to just call it the ecumenical movement, where we talk about Kenneth Copeland, or we talk about, what's his name? Mark, I forget his last name. But the Protestant church is moving to Catholicism, and we're going, why are they doing that? And we heard about the ecumenical and the one world religion, and we followed the why are they trying to merge Islam and Christianity under Chrislam? That never made any sense. They don't even believe the same God. Allah has no son. We believe in Jesus Christ created everything. So why is this Pope character trying to merge them? Well, when you start looking at the Mahdi prophecies, and then you understand that this Pope, the Freemason, secret society, Jesuit Pope, is been coordinating all this stuff. Basically, it looks like it supports the Mahdi prophecies, where Jesus didn't accomplish what he was supposed to accomplish on the cross, which is total blasphemy. You're not even a Christian if you believe that. And this guy supposedly represents Christians, which he doesn't. And then you got this Erdogan character, and then you start seeing it that, okay, well, Erdogan, they're kind of setting him up to be the new caliph or the new caliphate leader. And I was listening to a couple audios of some interesting stuff about this wave that's supposed to be coming through the universe right now. And it might be from some New Age sources or whatever, but it was just interesting that if they set up this Erdogan character to be in the right place at the right time when the astronomical stuff starts to happen, because the Vatican has access to all the, deep space information, that he can, he can point out the whole calling down fire and all that stuff. There can be a natural event that happens, but Erdogan could be in place and cued to act like he's doing it. So I'm looking at it and I'm going, the Vatican, the Jesuits are definitely running this. Erdogan's being set up for this Caliph Mahdi type thing. And then the Antichrist or false Christ is in the Muslim tradition. He will support the Mahdi and say, I was always a Muslim, you guys got it wrong. And then you either convert to the one world religion, which is this Mahdi kind of a one world thing, and or you get executed, which fulfills the mark of the beast stuff.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. And then you have the borders that are wide open here, and before Obama's term's over, we'll have 3 million more refugees over here. I know they were bringing them here by the busload every day, way back when. And so it's just a setup. It's a setup from within. I'm not sure if it's true, if they are bringing a lot of these people in and training them, militarizing them. It would make sense why they ordered all those hollow point bullets. But I mean, it's just, it's just a big setup with America, because this isn't America. America should protect its country. The leader should protect its country, protect the borders, make sure that everybody's safe. But this is now a rainbow country, and not only that, it's a one world country. It's becoming that way. And the more I have studied Rome, this is pretty much becoming Romanized. Because of everything that the president believes in, or he's showing us to believe in, with just taking executive orders, changing laws, forcing people to get Obamacare, forcing pastors to not preach against gays and things like that. And, I'm not in for no hate speeches or anything like that. And I don't really like listening to pastors talk against certain people. But when they do it, if they do it from the Holy Spirit in a loving way, I mean, I love everybody and I'm not here to judge anyone. But it's just the way, when you look at the big picture and you look at what is happening, I mean, Rome was a lot like this. There was, the emperors married men, and that was okay. And they would have to be castrated first. And so this is the way that they were then. And I do believe Obama's just like an emperor. He is acting just like Tiberius. And
I thought he's more like Nero, but.
well, you know what? He may be like Nero. Nero is like the last unicorn. He is the beast code in the Bible, and it's going to be in our book too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, that he is a lot like that, and then we see him changing laws, and he's probably going to play his fiddle while America burns down to the ground, just like Nero did.
Well, and unfortunately, when you look at this, I mean, I always go back to the Jesuits, and the Jesuits were set up to be the anti-Reformation. And when you flood the borders with Catholic populations or people that grew up under Catholic rule, they're already used to poverty and the Catholic Church running things. So them coming across the border, plus the Muslims, who the Pope is trying to assimilate into Islam, becomes a major problem, because then they're trying to destroy the Protestants, which were the Bible believers in America that kept America under the blessings of the Bible, because we believed in being saved and living out the Bible. Now, that's not what the Vatican believes, as you can see by this Pope. He doesn't believe in anything in the Bible.
He said Jesus was a failure.
Yeah, so you got Rome again. And what did Rome do with the Christians?
They killed them.
Yeah. So what did the Catholic Church do with the Inquisition? It persecuted the Bible believers.
And they stole all their money, and they burned all of them.
Right. So here again we have the second or last Inquisition. I'll call it that because that's what it is. Because you got this Roman emperor, this Francis guy, coming to our country, and then we got no borders because the people who are obeying him are letting in these Catholic and Islam populations to take down the middle class Protestant Bible believing community. And Obama is anti. Why do we have these Homeland Security? Why do we have NSA? Why do we have all these things targeting Americans? When we say Americans, it is the Constitution believing, the Protestant Bible believing population. Everybody that is against us are all promoting Islam, or promoting the New World Order, or the One World Religion, or the Pope. So,
which is the false peace. Yeah,
it's the false peace. So when you have all this bloodshed in the end times, it's just again like the Inquisition, or like the Caesars. You either convert or you die. So this same spirit, this Caesar spirit, this Mahdi, Hitler, Antichrist spirit, it's all the same thing, but you can see that everything is directed against the Bible-believing church.
Right. They were the sons of Jupiter, and all their churches were Mithraism, and they worshipped Ops, and which is the female aspect of Satan, and so they claim themselves to be born of Jupiter and Venus, and that this is their bloodline all the way from Egypt. And so this has gone on and on. It's never ended. They've never stopped believing these same things in their royalty, and they're still fighting with each other. That aspect of the sun, who worships the sun and who's worshipped the moon, who's more powerful, who's going to rule the world. And it seems funny and far-fetched from the normal average person, but these elite people behind the scenes, they're not your average person. They're not even like us.
No, not at all. So what I see as we wrap up, I see what's going on right now is trying to start some kind of violence in the United States. And if they don't get the results they want, they'll do some kind of false flag to force a situation. And the Middle East, the executing the 47 Shia was ridiculous. by Saudi Arabia, which automatically puts the Sunnis and Shias against each other for Erdogan to raise in prominence as the Sufi. That's where I see that going. So I think that's where we are right now. We're currently finishing up the book. We're getting ready to talk to Anthony in the near future. What else is on our agenda for this explosive beginning of the new year?
Well, we've actually will finish book 2, soon after that. These are going to be fascinating little booklets. They're going to be so full of information, but they're going to be small booklets, or we call them end time mini booklets. And they're just going to be so full of decoding and information, have lots of of pictures, and it actually really makes the Bible come alive too. It's just truly fascinating stuff. It helps people to understand the times we're living in today as well. And so just a lot of gold nuggets in there. I can't wait to talk to Anthony again and put our heads together with our information and collaborate. And we'll be doing that soon. And so just be looking out. We'll probably post an announcement on YouTube when our book's out, so that way everybody will know. And we're just watching the end times, just like everybody else. We're watching this gun control stuff, and we knew it was coming. It's going to open up doors for other things. Like we said, the borders are wide open. People that have been in the military for many, many years, they all say to me, this is just a big setup. It is. It's a huge setup. And just know that Jesus is faithful, and he's powerful, more powerful than anything. And just stay in prayer and trust him for all things, and be thankful for everything that he does for us every day. And if you don't know him, ask him into your heart and reconcile your heart with his, because that's the only way to heaven. Jesus is the gate to heaven. It's not Cern. It's not any of these gods that they worship in these elite circles. It's Jesus Christ, and that's who they're fighting against, and that's who they want to come down on in America. So we should all stay faithful and prayerful to Christ.
Amen. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you everybody for listening. Christ is the only way. He's going to be the only way through this, and Christians need to be praying and worshiping and thanking the Lord a lot more every day, because that's what's going to get us through until his return. And this Antichrist spirit, the rise of the Antichrist, this last ride for Lucifer is coming about, and it will end, and then we won't ever have to deal with this junk ever again. So that's, and the Lord will reign, and justice will prevail, and we won't have to put up with any more watching this global injustice going on. So thank you very much, Chris. Thank you, listeners, and everybody have a great day.